Welcome back to Watch More Football, everyone. A bit of a different one this week because there's no Premier League football on this weekend that we're recording. As always, you're watching us on the Genreverse Sports YouTube channel. Please check that out. You'll find our full back catalogue on there, going right back to when we started recording this show last season, and all the episodes for this season as well. While you're on there, also check out our Genreverse YouTube channel, which is entertainment news. It's got reactions, it's got interviews, it's got reviews, and it's got a whole load of anime stuff on there and a massive big following of people that are really into that content. You'll find similar content to that, slight slant on the comic book Star Warsy side, I think, on lrmonline.com if you like your written news. I tend to cover a lot of that news on there, one of the senior editors at that site. So please check that out if you're into all that sort of stuff. I am Cam Clark. I'm here with Ryan, I'm here with Dave, and I'm here with Mick. And also producer Kyle. We cannot forget producer Kyle, of course, who makes the magic happen.
So Cam Money keeps wearing Arsenal tops.
I know. He's bought that one top. He's
big gun
just for this show. But we are having a bit of a different show this week because it's international football and it's not really important international football. So there's no Premier League to discuss. There's no predictions to update. There'll be no change. So Dave's still top, so he just wants everyone to know that.
Well,
with me,
yeah.
Sorry. But,
I'll share it with you this week, Mick.
But we will get back onto that side of things next week. You'll see we'll be covering our predictions at the end of the show today, going into the next one again. So if anybody wants to join in that at any point, feel free. What we are going to do this week is we're going to have a little bit of a talk in depth about the transfer window in general, which was, I think it's fair to say, a bit of a strange transfer window this year, a little bit different from what we've had previously, probably because of the spectre of PSR and some of the stuff that happened last year during the season. So we are going to have a little chat about PSR and how it's affected things as well. How you doing, guys? All good?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
All good.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, England's playing well, so yeah, I'm doing all right.
Are they playing
Didn't
well?
have any,
There is an England.
Well, we played well on Saturday, didn't we? I think we're playing quite all right tonight as well.
Who cares? But in terms of
Scotland.
Have Scotland got on this international break?
I don't think we're playing. I think that's what it is.
Certainly not playing 90 minutes anyway.
I think that because we're in a higher league than you,
tougher
those
tests.
games are maybe put to a certain side or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it'd be all right if we could all play Ireland. And who are you playing tonight?
Finland. The mighty Finland.
Finland, the mighty Finland, giants of the international game.
Historically the best of all the Scandinavian sides.
We played, who else did we play? Somebody else good. Anyway.
Don't think Dave's going to take
Poland,
account of that, like Ryan.
So, anyway, we'll move.
He's not Swedish, so
my least favourite subject, which is international football, and on to my favourite subject, which is Premier League football. So, transfer window, guys. We're all going to talk about our own club's transfer windows. It won't take Mick and I long. In general, this year, we wanted to talk about just some of the kind of the marquee, who was the best signing and who was the worst signing, and just have a discussion about that. And then we're going to have a chat about PSR as well. So it's going to be a bit more freeform this week and a bit quicker and less of our usual topics that we tend to cover. So, guys, the first thing is best signing then. So, there's a question. Who is the best signing of the window? If we look at just the Premier League, obviously, we're not looking at La Liga.
I don't know. One of the five keepers.
One of Newcastle's 5 keepers. One of Chelsea's 6 keepers, possibly.
To be honest, I thought he signed more than 6 keepers.
I think... And clearly, I've got a vested interest as a Man United fan.
This is going to be.
I think in terms of most impressive out of nowhere, how the fuck have they done that signing? It's got to be Lenny Yoro. I know he's injured.
He was on mine as well.
He was fated to go to Real Madrid on a free, and we've convinced him to come to us instead. And that is quite a.
You didn't convince him. the club, his parent club convinced
Doesn't
him.
matter.
Said,
Doesn't matter.
You're not going to Real Madrid. We've got this massive offer. You're going there.
But he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to.
Otherwise,
That's
you're
the
going.
thing,
It is,
Mick. I mean,
you're
we've
going.
seen
Well,
a
do you
lot
know
of
he didn't have to
managers
do
the
it?
same
How do we
thing.
know?
Exactly.
You look at the narrative because Real Madrid were even 6 months ago going to be like, right, we're going to wait until Lenny Yoro's contract runs out and we're going to sign him.
Usually
and then the stories come out, oh, Man United are interested in Lenny Yoro, and the discourse across the board is, yeah, all right, fine, I'd like a date with Shakira, and we got it over the line. So I think in terms of impressive business, I think that could be one if he develops the way he should do.
Yeah, when I saw you had got him, I thought, oh my God, are United actually making sensible choices now? And that's what made me worry a bit.
I mean, I never even seen him play before you as well link with him. I didn't know.
He's like a mix between
so...
he's like a mix between Paolo Maldini, Franco Baresi, and Franz Beckenbauer.
He has cost about 60 million.
He's a bit all right then. I mean, I think the only thing that I had heard about him was the whole Real Madrid were putting the don't sign for MD because we want to pick you up cheap and give you a good
and they don't
deal
do
in
that.
a year's
They
time
don't
or
do
something
that to
like
rubbish
that.
players. So
no, so you know that they've spotted him as a good player. I get that, but like Mick says, I've never seen him play. He hasn't played a single game for you competitively yet because he got a really bad injury in like his first pre-season game.
Well, yeah, so he played,
and he's out for
the worst.
I mean, is the best signing somebody that didn't play a single game and won't play a game till what, January, February at least?
I was very careful to frame it as the best, most impressive business. I don't think he's going to make a massive impact for this season, but
it could be.
I mean,
it was a statement.
A statement signing, marquee signing. That was a big one. I don't think there's been that many impressive. How the hell have they done that? Or I can't believe they signed him. Sort of signings.
Can I?
I wouldn't even put him down as a marquee signer.
Can I ask a question real quick? I'm seeing this term loan on this website. You guys can actually just like loan people out to a team.
There are some limitations, but yes,
that is. So that used to be, Kyle. That used to be a way for
tell Kyle about loans.
Yeah.
See, when you own another club, when you have a sister club, you just shove all the players you don't want to them. That's basically what it is. Although there is limitations. I think you can limit yourself to 3 players abroad at the same club.
Okay.
It used to be. So say you were a fairly big club and you had a promising youngster come through, but he wasn't quite ready for your first team yet. You'd send him to a smaller club where there's less pressure, less spotlight, just to see how he does. So you'd loan him out.
Almost like farm teams in US Major League Baseball, almost.
Yeah, but mostly without those sort of defined links.
Oh, okay.
But smaller teams with not a lot of resources.
You were doing the smaller club a favour because they were getting a promising young player that they can play that they don't have
they
to
can't afford
sign and pay money for. Yeah.
What it often gets used for now is Team A wants to sign player B, but they can't afford him this year, but they can probably afford him next year, but they want him now. So it's like a try before you buy sort of thing. But quite often it's like if they play X amount of games, then you've got to fork out the money next season and that sort of thing. It's
there's so many complications, isn't there, these days?
It's crazy. Carry on. American need for information fulfilled.
So I mean, are we really going to go? I mean, someone suggests someone other than Yoro.
Yeah.
That's what was the best signing.
Yeah, the best signing that a Premier League team made this season, this summer.
I'm going to have a look into West Ham. They've made some good.
Yeah, West Ham have. Yeah.
Well, they keep saying that, but name one of them.
Fulkrug.
Yeah, Fulkrug.
How many games has Fulkrug played?
He's not had a kick all season. He's
not a kick all season.
But you can see Yoro.
I was big on the Fulkrug train, but he's done absolutely fuck all so far.
I will say to Debo for West Ham.
Yeah, that was a good
even
one.
though that's a loan.
Yeah.
Is it loan of obligation? I think.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
For cheaper than United were going to buy him for.
I think. Actually, you've got to look at Chiesa at Liverpool for 10 million. That's a hell of a buy.
It's a maybe though, because
well, isn't every transfer maybe when
Euros
it's 3 games
6 years ago? Maybe.
Every transfer maybe.
Yeah, but
only 3 games into the season.
I mean, there's a reason.
Only 10 million. So
there's a reason he only went for 10 million. He had a good Euros 3 years ago. Then he did his ACL, and he's not been the same player since. Now, granted, they don't need him to come in and start scoring 30 goals. They just need him to be there when Salah's not. But
I don't think we can call
it's
him
a low risk.
Of the season, though.
I'm excited to see
maybe at the end of the season, though, you say, he was because he was brilliant and he only cost 10 million,
Yeah, very low risk.
Yeah. I mean, there are clubs paying 10 million for loan fees at the minute. Never mind for permanent signings. So
that player that Man City bought from Man City.
No, he's shit. He's going down. Yeah, no. So, and I called this going into the first game of the season. I've got him as my worst signing of the season. A, just because of the implication of it, and B, just because I don't.
Because he plays for Man City.
Yeah, no, just I don't think he's actually any good.
He had a good game against Chelsea, didn't he?
He was all right. I've heard people say a good game. I don't think he was that great.
He
should have conceded a penalty.
He's just a winger. Like, that's it. He's not anything special.
Says the Anthony Enjoyer.
City have only signed him just to prove that they can, to stick 2 fingers up at everyone else. Like,
well, we never said we'd be unbiased and impartial, folks. So you get what you get. So do we really know any? I mean, I can't think of anyone. I'm going to be honest. I would say that was the signing of the season for me.
Sterling's a pretty good.
Yeah, he's a good signing for
Arsenal.
Well, I do think
no risk whatsoever.
I do think in general in the league, there's been very few players that have been signed where it's like, I can't wait to see him in the Premier League, or I can't wait to see what he does at this team. In general,
I'd say another great signing of the season for me. It didn't cost them anything really. It was just like a reversally contract. Gundogan going back to City.
Yeah, I mean that's really good.
I mean, they didn't want to lose him in the first place. He was. I think he was. For me, he was the player of the season when they won the treble.
Yeah. I think City put less work into that deal than they did in the Savio one, though. So.
I think it was just literally one phone call, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But my current club can't afford to pay me. Can I come home? Yeah, sure, son. And you come. But yeah, there's maybe not one outstanding one. Okay, let's move on to
Nana.
Do we reckon
Nana for Villa.
Well, he's been proving it. Yeah,
he's been proving it.
You could say maybe in terms of the start he's had, definitely, because
he's had 6 points, pretty much.
2 goals already. We'll see though, because he's replacing Luis Diaz, and is it? Or am I getting man?
Douglas Luiz.
Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz.
That went away. He was at Juve or something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's that good. So we'll see if it's signing of the season.
And just on Douglas Luiz, it was a lovely touch when he went to Juventus. He convinced their women's team to sign his girlfriend from Villa as well. So.
Yeah, but Tina, who wouldn't sign him?
Interesting. If he can't even
easy social media engagement.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the worst signing then. Which club made the absolute stupidest worst signing of the season?
It's difficult.
I can think of more examples here than I can for the best.
Yeah, I think it's so difficult because past seasons we've had just 1 or 2 players which have cost like 80 plus million, and there's not been any of that this summer window. Everybody's been kind of sticking to lower fees. I wouldn't say low because 40 million isn't low, but nowadays
Solanke for 65 million.
That's the first one that came to mind. Yeah.
But, I mean, I'll go with Savio, and I'll go into more detail on it. Because just in terms of
I'm a Man U fan.
No, because of the very fabric of the game, Mick, is at threat here because of this signing. So for people who aren't aware, Manchester City owns several football clubs around the world. They own a French team called Troyes, and they own a Spanish team called Girona. Now, Troyes happened to sign this Brazilian kid called Savio a year or two ago. He never played a minute for them. He went on loan to Girona in Spain last year, did all right. Girona had the best ever season. And now he's gone back to Troyes, and City, who own both those clubs, have bought him for about £40 million. And they've gotten
33 million, I think it was.
Well, fine. And they've gotten around UEFA's rules on this because UEFA's rules are that you can't buy from a sister club if you're in the same competition, but they're technically buying from Troyes, who are getting relegated from Ligue 1 in France. Even though clearly they're buying their own player from their own club to get around PSR.
I mean,
it's just been a
lot of clubs doing the PSR thing, but I mean, he was always just on loan in Girona. He didn't ever sign.
Yeah, but it was very clear
that's not breaking the rules.
There's no way that ordinarily a club like Troyes was signing this guy.
And loaning him that's fair.
And loaning him to a team better than them in Spain.
Are you just being bitter because you couldn't sign Todibo?
No, I didn't want us to sign Todibo because there was never going to be any way that we could sign him and it all be above board. So, I just think it's such a clear.
If it happened.
It's such a clear loophole.
Yeah, I agree.
That City have just driven through and not even pretending like they're
City don't drive through loopholes. City are the loophole. City are the hole inside the loop. Do you know what I mean? That's what they are.
I don't think United should have been allowed to sign Todibo. I've got no issue with that whatsoever. But the fact that loophole for City is so blatant and nobody's made any effort to close it is quite bad, I think.
There was a huge effort to close that kind of. Sorry.
I was going to say it's bad that you can't even have the option to buy him, though.
I mean, we've ended up with Lenny Yoro and Matthias de Ligt, who are both better than him. So I'm not bothered that way.
Has Todibo failed at Juventus and Bayern Munich so far?
Todibo couldn't even get to Juventus. They didn't want to pay the money for him.
Yeah, because he's too young. He's not been given that chance yet.
But
the league's already failed.
The thing is, though,
downwards.
He's won titles at both those clubs.
Yeah,
I don't
know if you can say he's failed.
The league have tried to close them loopholes when Newcastle were reportedly going to try and sign players from Saudi Arabia. And then the whole league went up.
I wouldn't have counted for that rule Ryan's talking about.
Well, yeah, it would, because we're trying to loan players
not in the same
from PIF-owned clubs.
Yeah, but Ryan's talking about specifically when
wrong.
Two clubs are in the same competition.
No, Mick, I'm talking about the exact same thing that Mick's talking about here, Cam. In that,
if you've got exactly the same thing. If
you've got two clubs with the same owner, you shouldn't be allowed to do business apart from loans.
But the 16, 17, 18 clubs did try to block us doing that with Saudi Arabia, even though I don't think we were going to do it. It was reported in the press that they were going to, and then all the clubs went in uproar saying, "No, you can't do that. That we're only going to loan."
What you can do, because it's now been approved as being fine, is if the club owns assets, you can sell the assets of the club to the owner of the club, and that counts for PSR. So if Chelsea's allowed to do it and they get off scot-free with it, why can't Man City do it or anybody else do it? Why's Chelsea getting to do it then?
We're just
is that not just the same thing?
Loopholes and doing it before we get closed.
I think UEFA are looking at that as well, though. So I think they
are.
No, they've looked at it and they approved it. They decided it was fine. No, I'm telling you, there was an article come out the other day there. They made a decision on it and they decided it was fine. That you can do that. You're allowed to do that.
So Newcastle can go and sell the St. James's stock to
themselves.
You
get about 20 grand for that.
So just go and sell that for 500 million.
And then he could just gift it back in his will and shoot himself or something like that. I don't know how it would work. But seems a bit extreme. All right, Cam, stop with the dark imagination. But I don't know. I would like to put forward a couple of worst signing potentials. One of them being at our team, Newcastle, and that's Vlaka Dimadomos. I can't say his name. But the Greek keeper who we signed, and it cost us over £20 million to sign him, and we have absolutely zero intention of him ever playing a game for us whatsoever. He was bought as a complete PSR fudge thing. We bought him for 20 million to help Forest out, and they bought a good player from us for 35 million to let us out of the hole. And I just think, like, Forest, how did that help us? It's because Forest are like, wait a minute, we get rid of a shit keeper and we get a good player and we're all right for PSR. This is a great deal.
But the thing is, though, with Anderson, it benefited us because of the PSR freaking crap that we were left under. And Anderson being homegrown, he's homegrown, and it doesn't look at 30 million. It's a hell of a lot more than 30 million, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's being a homegrown player.
The way it works, and it's very much sort of have your cake and eat it at the same time. You get 35 million off your books straight away, but then Vlachodimos is only about 5 million a year for 4 million a year for the next 5 years or something daft like that.
Yeah.
So
basically with 30 million off.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to get rid of Anderson, but when you look at it, he's probably sixth choice in Eddie Howe's side. Because you've got Bruno, Joelinton.
Yeah, because he's a young kid that needs time to develop.
Then you've got Longstaff, Willock. Then you've got Lewis Miley as well to come back from injury.
So what's happened to him? He seems to have disappeared off the face of the earth, Lewis Miley.
He's got a back injury.
I think, Mick Crow's slightly.
Is that from carrying Newcastle last season, is it?
I mean, I'd rather sold Longstaff and kept Anderson if it's me. That's just me. So I don't get the whole Vlachodimos thing. At least if you're going to have to pick somebody up for Forest, why did we not at that point say to them, what about Alanga? We want Alanga. You know what I mean? And did a deal. Would that not have worked? I don't know.
No, because Forest didn't want to sell him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it would have cost too much. We needed to make a profit rather than a...
They signed Vlachodimos last year and then immediately replaced him with Matt Sells, who wasn't even good enough for Newcastle when they were shit. So... Yeah.
That goes to tell you.
Oh, well. Got some contenders there anyway. So which team had the best transfer window, would you say?
I can't decide between United or West Ham, to be honest.
I think, and this is very much a sort of, because I know the context of our previous windows better than I know West Ham's. It's the best window I can remember for a while, not just in terms of the players that we brought in, but we brought in about 100 million in sales as well, which never happens for us.
True.
We've got rid of a load of young players who were not really anywhere near the first team, but we've got buyback options and we've got sell-on clauses on all of them. Whereas previously it'd be like, oh, well, they're not ready for the first team yet, but they're running out of contracts. We'll give them another 5 years and maybe someone will come buy them. And then 5 years goes on, they've wasted their career and leave on a free. We've got them out the door now so they can go and build a career, and if they come good, we still stand to benefit from it, which has helped. But I mean, the best bit of business we did all summer was convincing Marseille to spend actual money on Mason Greenwood, to be honest, because he's just
I'll give you that. Like,
someone was desperate to give you some money for him. Yeah. I mean, I think you were always getting something for him, but you got.
Fine, he scored goals for Getafe last season. He's scoring goals for Marseille this season, but he's
a good player. Let's be honest.
He's a negative asset. He's a negative asset as far as United are concerned, and as far as I'm concerned. And as I've said repeatedly since the allegations about him came out, if it was up to me, don't care what money is involved, I would have torn up his contract on the day. So the fact that they've managed to get about 30 million for him, it doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right with me that we've managed to profit from the situation in that way. But it's clearly good negotiation from the new guys. So
my rebuttal on your transfer window would be that I still don't think that you have addressed the one glaring option that you needed, which was a top striker. You still don't have that. I don't think Xerxes a number 9. I think he's a false 9-10 kind of role for what I've seen of him so far. And he's a kid. He needs time to develop. Hoyland's a kid and injured a lot, needs time to develop. You just don't have that goal scorer. And you're still struggling for goals.
It really depends on where you see us aiming for this season. If we were going if we were expected to go for the title this summer, absolutely, we need that striker. But if you look at it as Varane left, that's £400,000 a week wages off the books. We've replaced him with De Ligt and Yoro. Martial left, again, another 250 off the books for a player who never played. We've replaced him with Xerxes. We've got Mazraoui in for Wan-Bissaka, cheaper than what we sold Wan-Bissaka for, and he covers both wing-back slots. And then we've brought in Ugarte, who is obviously the long-term successor for Casemiro, whose form is falling off a cliff. So I think there were a number of holes in the squad, and we filled those holes. And yes, we need to improve the quality in the squad, but we filled the holes quite well, I think, so far.
Who's going to score your goals from midfield now McTominay is gone?
I don't know. We don't.
What's
really
Marwan Fellaini doing nowadays?
Oh God!
I think he retired.
Genuinely,
I thought Victor Moses had retired until today.
Yeah. Genuinely, I think Fellaini, like the Fellaini that we had at United, he would do quite well under Ten Hag. I think he's the sort of player that Ten Hag likes. But yeah, he's getting on a bit now.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not convinced by your team, but I can't deny your point that you've got rid of a lot of deadwood and brought possibly better options.
I don't think we're going to achieve any
with the Yoro injury.
I don't think we're going to achieve any great things this summer, but the squad is in a lot better shape than it was a year ago.
Does anybody remember Ryan's predictions? Where did Ryan predict United to finish?
In the top 4, but I don't see that as a massive achievement, to be honest. That's just a league position. I'm not going to be
from 8th
celebrating.
Last year. That's quite the jump up. Well, that's 4 places up.
But we finished third. We finished third the season before.
You have them in third.
I mean, yeah.
Way,
I mean,
Ryan.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I've put them there, but I'm not going to say that that's on a par with winning the FA Cup last season. So.
Well,
I don't know. I think how you do in a league season sometimes a better. I'm not saying it's necessarily more worthy than a trophy of a cup, but it's a better indication of where your team is.
My own personal philosophy is that when we've had a trophyless season and we're fighting for top 4 going into the last few weeks of the window, I couldn't give less of a shit if I tried. Yeah. Whereas
because you're an entitled young Man United fan that grew up just going, Daddy, where did Man United fit? We won again, son. Oh, yay! And just that's all you had your entire life.
We had an absolutely awful season last season, completely irredeemable, and I was miserable on so many podcasts.
You get into Europe and won a cup,
but none of that mattered because we won the FA Cup.
Yeah, I mean winning the FA Cup's winning the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Any other contenders for best transfer windows? We said West Ham. I would also add in Brighton in there as well. And I think once again they've done quite a few good signings. I mean, they robbed us. We meant it because they knew we were in PSR trouble, and like that's how switched on Brighton are. They knew, and they waited till the day before we were due to be done, and they come in and offered us money for Minty that they could afford, knowing that he's not quite the finished article yet, but that he's got big potential. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's all purchases for the future for them, so you can never tell exactly.
I'd also say I think on Brighton they've actually splashed the cash a bit for players now, which was sort of what led to De Zerbi leaving them last season because he didn't think that they were trying to kick on as much in the transfer market. But they've signed Rutter up front from Leeds. They've signed Kadioglu at left back from Fenerbahce, who had a brilliant Euros and was a player that I would have quite liked to have seen at United this summer. and they've got that Matt O'Reilly in midfield again, who's entering into his prime years. So I think they are trying to kick on a bit.
They've been unlucky with him though that he's come in and get injured in his first game as well. He did a Yoro, do you know what I mean? And he's out for many months. I think they're talking about basically it could be the season for him, which is just really nasty luck. But that's life. Any other contenders for best transfer window? None of the big teams, eh? I mean, Liverpool hardly signed anyone. No. Arsenal signed a couple of players, but nothing much.
Arsenal signed City got one in.
They did, but they signed squad players. Arsenal, didn't they? They didn't sign anyone that's going to improve.
If Arsenal had went out and signed a striker, then I would have said, maybe Arsenal have had a really good transfer window, because that's what they really needed. It was they
did try at the beginning though, didn't they? With Sesko, was it?
Yeah.
Well, there was
he didn't want to leave, did he?
Isaac and Sesko.
He didn't want to leave, no. But then everyone else was kind of priced out, and I could understand Arsenal not wanting to pay out on strikers.
Yeah,
they could have get Awesome and loan, like
random. Yeah, but nobody
could have had
Ivan
Toney.
Yeah. Oh, true, yeah.
I mean, that's true, yeah. I mean, if you look at, I talked about this a couple of times, Brentford were desperate to sell, and you could tell if you waited till last week in the window, you were getting a deal off Brentford because they were desperate to get rid of him. That's why they weren't playing him. And some Saudi club did get a good deal on him.
They did, and they offered him a lot of money, obviously, but I think, because he wasn't on a lot at Brentford, so I think he probably
would have went for much less to a Premier League club.
He would have taken half the Saudi money to go to Arsenal and try and win a title, I think.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was told he had to go to Saudi for his gambling addictions. I don't know. You're not allowed to gamble over there.
You won't be able to gamble over there.
I mean, if anybody could find a way, it'd be him and Sandro. They'd find a way to get rid of it on some illegal betting.
I mean, I have seen that he's just invested in a VPN company, so I don't
know. All right, so who are the worst transfer windows?
Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle. Yeah.
Surely it's not. Could you also say possibly Liverpool in terms of they never signed them? Did they sign one player? We signed.
I mean, they did get.
I get the feeling. I get the feeling
that the worst window.
Yeah, I get the feeling that Liverpool did the business that they wanted to do. I don't get the feeling of that with Newcastle.
Liverpool didn't really need to sign.
Yeah.
Anyone that needed somebody to replace Salah if he gets injured or whatever, they've done that. We needed to sign players and we didn't. We needed centre back to replace Shea. We needed a right winger. Instead, we sold a promising right winger and kept freaking Almiron and Murphy, and then signed 3 goalkeepers.
You also have to remember we did sign Lewis Hall, counts as a signing this year as well. So
he can't really count those.
That doesn't count. We had him last season.
But it does officially, and I think
it does. But it's not good business from you this summer, is it?
No,
especially not in the context
Asula is decent business. I think that's one of the things we needed to do is get a young. Yep. No, but that's what I said. We needed. We needed someone young that wasn't going to play every week, but just could come in every now and again and learn. And that's kind of what we went and got with him.
Was he actually any good?
The problem was
we
didn't get any of the other 2 positions.
He couldn't get into.
Well, he just scored an international goal this weekend.
Oh, okay.
So did Isaac. So did.
Isaac got 3.
Anderson got an assist for the under 21s. Was it? I don't know who did when there was a lot of 3 Newcastle players all scored.
No, Anderson in the internationals. Didn't Anderson join up with Scotland and then he took one training session and went, "Fuck that, I'm going home."
Oh yeah, that's what happened to him. Who was it? Who was the other one? So it was Sanusi, and Anderson doesn't play for us anymore, but I wasn't thinking about him. I can't remember, but anyway, yeah, it's beside the point. Asula, I don't know. We'll see.
Gordon had a good game for England on Saturday. We'll give him that.
He's played well again tonight, but Lewis Hall got a couple of assists last night as well.
That's who it was. Oh, my brain, honestly, it works just that crazy, and I just can't fix straight. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Newcastle, I think it's hard to. I can't really give a good argument for why it shouldn't be Newcastle. We spent all summer chasing one player and didn't get him in the end.
They come out and say, "Well, we've got money to spend now." When it comes to the next window is the worst window to try and sign players.
Yeah.
But then you look at it. Who have we signed recently in January? We signed Gordon. We signed Bruno. We signed Botman. All in January. Trippier.
Yeah.
Which are
actually
brilliant.
It's worth pointing though that there's been noises coming out of Liverpool towards Guehi that basically we'd be interested come either January or summer. In other words, don't sign for Newcastle because it's a bigger club coming to get you.
and Chelsea have said that as well.
Do you not think
we've got a sell-on clause with him? So
yeah.
Do you not think as well with January it might be a bit different this year because of all the sort of PSR deadline on June 30th and all of the sort of last minute frantically trying to get your books in order? Do you not think maybe a few clubs might be more open to doing business in January just so it's all settled?
Possibly.
I don't know. I think we'll just do what we did this year and just wait it out to the last minute and panic.
But that's what seems to be happening almost, the last couple of windows now. I don't know. One of the things I did want to discuss today, but I don't think we're going to have time to get into it, unfortunately. So I think we're going to have to pick this up as a separate discussion. The next time there's an international week on is the whole PSR, because I think, for me, it's stifling football, and that's why we're seeing what's happening in the transfer windows. And I don't think that's good for growth overall. But I don't think we'll maybe have too much time.
Even Gary Neville said it.
So, and we'll get into this next time, but my opinion is that as a concept it's good, but it's not working because clubs are trying to get around it. There is nothing forcing them to do all their business on June 30th.
It's not working. No, it's not good either. It's not fit for purpose.
Look how many trades there's been this summer. Player swaps. I know it's not player swaps, but
Newcastle with Forest. Do you know what I mean? And we're doing that because of PSR. Aston Villa with Juventus because of PSR.
Us with everyone.
Yeah. Chelsea with
Villa did a lot of it.
Tom, Dick and Harry that they can find.
Yeah, we did it with Villa.
And the thing is, though, it's like Gary Neville said, this PSR crap, it's basically putting Newcastle, Villa, teams that haven't got any debt, but they've got these multi-rich owners that can put their own money into the club to invest in that club to make it better and stronger, to make the league even more competitive. But yet these PSR rules have basically got a brick on top of their head saying, no, you're not. But yet these big clubs that have done it for 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years are miles ahead, and we have to sell our better players to them so then we can go and invest into our team even more. It's wrong.
I shouldn't have brought it up.
I was about to say it's about mistake.
Let's keep this. Let's stifle this and keep it to next time. Because this is why I wanted to almost have a show just to discuss PSR. Because
I hope you got some screenshots off that because there's some brilliant reaction faces on there from me.
I just wanted to finish up just with talking about Chelsea a little bit because Dave's not really had the chance to talk about his team's window.
I've made a list of all the signings we've made.
Good.
How much time have we got? Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we have time to list them all, but maybe you could talk about it in general. How do you feel about it?
I don't know what's going on.
Isn't it?
I don't know what's going on. I think I mentioned it previously. It's like Christmas every day, and you just woke up hoping that you didn't sign a player, and then we just go and sign our sixth goalkeeper of a window. None of which are first team worthy either. None of our keepers are. That's what's frustrating about it. I don't. I mean, which keepers?
One was a strange one as well.
That was again, I think, a PSR thing. We need to get rid of Gallagher. And we needed to buy a player from Atletico. They obviously wanted to get rid of João.
And us thing, it's like Forest seem to be getting the better deal of it, and in that one, I think Atletico Madrid are getting the better deal because they're getting Gallagher, and you're paying them more money for their player. It doesn't make sense to me.
And they got João's wages off their books. I appreciate that.
As they were,
it's bad that I say appreciate, but he took his wages down to come over, so at least there's that. And he didn't cost. I say he didn't cost an awful lot. It was like 45 million, but I think the the club only bought him because they know that they could probably sell him next year or the year after for dear enough what we got him for.
Yeah, that he's probably still got a value. Yeah,
I can see opportunistically getting João Felix. I don't see the value in doing that when you're forcing Sterling out and bringing in Sancho at the same time.
Yeah,
I would have understood if we gave you Sterling, but we gave Arsenal Sterling.
Yeah,
just made it more confusing. But
and not only that, but you're covering most of Sterling's wages as well, whereas you're also covering. We're
taking on Sancho's.
Yeah.
The only thing is Sancho's going to cost us 20 million next year, and his wages go down. Yeah. But he's still young enough that the club obviously sees there's some value in him again.
But only if he plays. If he sits on the bench all season, who's going to buy him?
Yeah, but he'll still be able to get rid of him for 30 million probably.
That will be worth money in a year's time.
What difference?
You couldn't because his wages were high. We could because his wages are going to be low. That's the difference.
I just think if United have forced him out in this way, and he sits on Chelsea's bench all season, I don't see how he appreciates as an asset at all.
For a player like him, you get
why would
25,
he sit
30
on the
million.
bench though? Like unless he has a fallout with this manager as well, because he doesn't have any issues.
You've got João Felix ahead of him. You've got Nkunku ahead of him. You've got Mudryk, who's there. I'm not saying he's ahead
Sancho,
of him.
Mudryk's not ahead of anyone. Let's be clear.
Mudryk is not ahead of
anyone.
I just said he was there.
The only thing Mudryk's ahead of is the ball.
The offside line. That's what he's ahead of.
God. Bless him. I don't know. I don't know how much he'll play, but he's in our Conference League squad, and Palmer isn't, so he's probably going to play there.
He's gonna dribble past a bunch of Hungarian farmers, and his value is going to go up by 50 million. Cool.
Look, it's Chelsea. I don't know how we do it. We get money for our players.
He'll have a good season, and Chelsea will sell him for 70 million to Barcelona.
Do the Ultimate Team updates not go out on a Thursday night though?
That's true.
Oh.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
You know from the chat, I was not happy with Sancho. No. The only thing was that we're getting him for cheap. There is an interesting clause in it though. If we don't finish top 14, then we don't get him.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win for United.
Is that possible? is that the master plan behind Chelsea? This year we managed to finish 15th.
I actually think for all the piss taken, I think Chelsea actually look all right this season, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got a good squad. I'm not sure it's balanced, but you've got some good players. You know,
I don't know how we're going to set up, but
I think for all of the amount of players they've got, there's not a lot of depth there past the first 11 in terms of quality. But
I think we've got good depth. It's just whether they know how to play the system, and that's a real question.
Did you get ready everyone out of your bomb squad by the end of the window? Is there still a few?
The only one that's still there is Chilwell, I think.
That's a shame for him then.
I really like Chilwell. It's sad.
Just as he's fit as well. He's been unfit for so long, and now he's just going to sit, not playing for a year. You know, it's crazy. But
he's like Luke Shaw though, is that he gets fit until he plays a game, and
yeah, exactly. He'll play 2 games and he'll be off.
He's theoretically fit, but
that's Chelsea's plan. If they keep him if they don't play him, if he stays fit, they therefore can get transfer value for him. Bingo. You know, master plan again.
Yeah. Vega's a really good replacement for him, though. I'm happy with him. I'm hoping he's going to be another Gusto, cheap, and comes really good. He seems a really smart player.
Yeah. So, guys, just to finish up, let's talk a little bit. Let's show our predictions for next week. Producer Kel will bring them up on the screen, and we'll talk about. There's a couple of big games next week that I am going to be looking forward to watching since the football is back on again, thankfully. But I guess the biggest game that we've got is the North London Derby. Did any of you pick? I think we all picked Arsenal to win.
But I'm not convinced Arsenal are going to win. Their entire
I think Ryan went a draw.
Gone.
I seem to have gone for a draw. Yeah.
I was going for a draw, and I changed my mind last minute because I thought it's Spurs. So.
Well, exactly. So I said in the chat it would be really easy.
Get beat by us last week. You know.
I said in the chat it'd be really easy for Arsenal to just put Saka just on their line and just hoof it up to him. And if they do that, they'll win 5-0. But I don't think Arteta's got it in him to do that. So that's why I've gone for a draw. And Arsenal have had quite a few injuries over the international break as well. So Calafiori went off injured. Odegaard went off injured.
He's going to be a massive loss, by the way.
Doesn't look serious. The Calafiori one.
No.
But the Odegaard, we don't know. They might have to have an MRI.
Yeah.
And that would be a big loss for them.
That would be like Rodri for City, I feel like.
Yeah. And Mikel Merino, obviously, the new sign, and he broke his shoulder in the first training session. So didn't even get on the
pitch. I told him never to come back after I fell out with him in Newcastle. I told him don't come back. So he came back to Britain. I had to sort him out. These things happen. So the only other big, that's like the big, if you like, top of the table league. But I guess if we look at the bottom of the table, we do have Southampton playing Man United this weekend. It is. It's a must-win game for both teams at this point, Ryan. If you lose to Southampton away,
it's come to light that Man United have emailed season ticket holders about the League Cup game against Barnsley next week, and they've described that as a must-win game in their ticket sales email.
Okay, strange one that. I guess any cup games are must-win.
Every game's a must-win game.
There's a lot of piss taken, but actually it is must-win against Barnsley, because if we lose against Barnsley, literally all hell will break loose. Yeah. Well, no.
Who was it?
Never mind being out of the cup. Like, just the whole narrative around the club will just be an absolute shit show if we lose that
like
game.
It was for that brief moment against Coventry last year in the semi-final.
Exactly
like that. Yeah.
It will be interesting to see, because Southampton are really struggling to score goals, and you're really struggling to stop them going in at the other end at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think you'll win. I think you'll win the game.
What they do as well is they try and play out from the back, but they do it really badly. So I think even our press should be able to do something with that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I know Mick went for the draw, but I think that's just his bias.
The thing is, though, because Manu struggled to score.
He was right last week. You were right last week.
Yeah, but you've got to watch out for that Brereton Diaz. He will get someone sent off.
Yeah, but he's also
with a flick.
He's also yet to win a Premier League game in about 20 tries. So
that's why I went for the draw.
No one could score. You still went for 0-0. I think you went for one each, Mick. You still went for a 0-0 draw.
I don't like that
in your narrative.
Yeah,
I don't like.
Anyway, guys. Nobody likes 0-0s, but it doesn't stop you predicting that they're going to happen sometimes.
I don't like predicting them.
But so that's our predictions. We'll update next week on how we went in that. We'll be back discussing all the games next week and what happened in them, as we normally do with all our normal features. We do have one final thing this week. We do have a shit house of the week. It won't always be here, but we do have one this week.
We say this every week, but I think we're going to find something every week because it's just too fun.
Ryan, do you want to talk us through the shit house of the week? Well, Kill shows the images and stuff.
Yeah, so we had England versus Ireland on Saturday in the Nations League, and apart from all of the historical reasons why that's a bit of a needly fixture, we had England's new manager Lee Carsley played for Ireland as a player. We had Declan Rice and Jack Grealish starting for England, who both played for Ireland at youth level, and I think Rice even had a few senior caps for Ireland before he switched to England, even though they're both like as English as the rest of us. So obviously the Irish fans.
Speak for yourself, and then
where were you? Where were you born, Cam?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I better just shut up. I should just not say that. Carry on.
Anyway, so obviously the Irish fans had quite a lot of stick reserved for Rice and Grealish. They had a flag out in the stands with pictures of Rice and Grealish saying that the Snakes are back. And they got booed every touch of the game, and I had to give my son a geopolitical history lesson on why that was happening. But who should score in a 2-0 win? But first, Declan Rice, who kept it classy like he does, didn't celebrate. He was just like, calm. I've scored a goal.
I think that's the first time that's ever happened, by the way.
Yeah.
Player refusing to celebrate against his old club. That's an international team.
Yeah. And then about 10 minutes later, Jack Grealish scored. And being Jack Grealish, he wasn't being classy. He gave it the big one and started fist bumping the crowd and all of that. And it was a really good goal anyway. But
it was set up by Declan Rice, funny enough, as well.
And yeah, they were the two best players on the pitch in my mind. But just going back to the country that you used to represent as a kid, scoring goals and sticking two fingers up to the crowd, metaphorically, is some good shithouse.
You win this week's shithouse of the week, Jack Grealish. Yeah.
And
so that's
do you know
guys.
what? It's about damn time that we've spoken about Jack Grealish on this podcast.
Yeah, I've missed him.
yeah. And he is quite a bit of a shithouse as well. I do like Jack Grealish, but he had a bad season last year. Hopefully we'll be talking a bit more this year.
Jack Grealish got you Champions League football because he bad-mouthed Almiron and he had that purple patch.
Oh, yeah,
that got you to
Champions
League.
Yep, 100%. I'm with you on that one.
I wish you would do it again.
Played that good again. Yeah, I wish you would. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we need to wrap it up for this week, guys. But we will be back for more WMF next week. We all thank you for watching. If you liked us, like and subscribe. Please check out Genreverse. Please check out Genreverse Sports YouTube channel and also lrmonline.com as well. And we'll be back next week. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.